So we've set the stage to start using our shapes to build actual things for our screen. So I'm going to call it my screen item. The first thing I would like to draw is a sign. So I'm going to take this rectangle, which when we look at what I've drawn so far is right in the middle. It's a nice purple rectangle, and I'm going to use that for my sign. And I'm just going to draw the sign right in the background layer for now. But my goal here is to make a method called sign. So first thing I would like is a border around the outside of my sign. I've set the stage to allow for fill and no fill rectangles. And if I draw 3 rectangles right here, all white. Oh, wait a minute, what happened to my purple? Oh, there it is, okay. So here's my purple main rectangle, and 1, 2, 3 white rectangles. The first one, identical in size, so starting at 300, 300, just like the purple one above, and the same width and the same height. So that should give us a white border. Then we're going to move over 1 to the right and down 1. Change the width by 2, change the height by 2, because I've moved over to the right. I want to also move over from the left. So that's the width part. So that's another outline of a rectangle, making my borders slightly thicker. And then a third one. What this looks like is now a border around the purple rectangle. Next, I want my sign to say something. At the top, I've defined some fonts. So I have a chiller font with 48 pixel height in plain chiller. I've got a bolded Arial, which is smaller, 24 pixel height. Courier font, which is actually, when you define it as monospace, but that's what we know as Courier, and serif comes off as Helvetica. All right, so this one is nice and big, and it should be a good size for our sign. I'm going to set my font to Helvetica as part of my sign code. This has B dot because we're not wrapping this up in a wrapper method at this point or using another method. Eventually, that's going to be part of sign, so we won't see it like this. I want to draw some sort of message in my sign. So drawstring is a method that allows us to take words, place them in a specific X and Y location on our screen, and this time the Y is at the bottom left of our word. So that's why the math is a little bit different here. It's not lowering to get into the sign, it's going from the bottom left of the word. All right, so if I run this, what do I get? Hey, that's fun. I'd kind of like to have, though, my color a different color. There, that looks nicer. I like that. All right, so this is what I'm using to make my sign. But wouldn't it be a lot nicer if I could just say, hey, I want a sign which says fun. I'm going to put my oh, whoops, B. And I want it to be this color right here. Actually, I'm going to make this a lot simpler. I want it at 300, 300. I'm going to leave it at that. That's what I'd like to do. Here's my graphics drawing board. I want a sign at this location, 300, 300. The rest of this is going to have to adapt to the only input it has. 3 things. Okay, so before my wrapper methods, because this is not a wrapper method, and after my layer methods, I'm going to build a sign method. And I will finish this later. So right now, public void, static void, sign. I have my graphics 2D. I have my int x and my int y. That's it. How am I going to do that with just 3 input values? Okay. So I'm leaving the colors that are already picked in here, but I'm changing. This is going to be X. Everywhere I see 300 in the X position, I'm going to put an X. And here. Now the Y is 300. So anywhere there's a 300 in the Y position, I'm putting in a Y. This width, this height is going to be static for everything. Okay, does it compile? No. Oh, wait. This is not static. There we go. Okay. All right, so far so good. But what's the purpose of doing that if nothing changed? How is this helpful? Because now I could put signs saying fun all over the place. Now, but we put one, so we'll put one at 450. All right, what does this look like? So you see, all I need now is to say, I want at this XY position a sign saying fun. This is the way ultimately we're going to do some animation on our screen. So I'd like you to think about what you can build, what item you can build, and see if you can build your item so that all you need to do is change an XY location as input and have the whole thing, not just a part of it, but the whole thing move to a new location on your screen. So that's what I'd like you to work on now. The best thing for me to have done, though, I didn't quite finish this piece of my sign is not calling a wrapper method. I really need to turn this into a wrapper method. I should be saying like right or something like that with B and color dot yellow and Helvetica font. I spelled that wrong, didn't I? This is easier. And I'm going to have to give it fun as well as the XY values. And these pieces need to come out. And they need to go here for the drawstring. So I'm going to call this right. So this will be public void right with, I don't want to forget the curly braces, so I'm putting them in right now. What things do I need again? I can't remember all the stuff that I put, and I forgot my semicolon. Okay. All this stuff. What is all this stuff? Let me see. I'm going to put it in here and edit. So the B is a graphics to D type. My color is a color type. My Helvetica font is a font type. This is a string type. I have an int and another int. And what do I do here? I'm passing in the color. I'm passing in font. I'm passing in the string, the X value, and the Y value. Does it still compile? No. Missing method body. Oh, look at that. I forgot to edit out my semicolon. Missing method body. A good error message to know. Okay, still works, no changes, but by writing that wrapper method, I now very easily can put messages all over my screen. They don't have to be inside any particular sign, and maybe I want it in the foreground layer. I will make it cyan. What other fonts do I have? Let me look. Oh, I know I have Chiller. Have to use Chiller font. That's awesome. And where's this gonna go? I'm gonna put it maybe at 250 and from the top down 300, or maybe I'll put it at 500. Let's see. We did it. Yes. Okay. So now we have a wrapper method which wraps up the color and the font. So setting the color, setting the font, and writing the string on the screen. That's wrapped up in one wrapper method called, I named it right, maybe you have a better name for it. And we have an item method, which will it'll print a sign with the word fun in it, wherever I specify with an X and Y value. So your task is to convert those three instructions into a wrapper method for drawstring, as well as coming up with your own item to print on the screen by just specifying the graphics 2D and X and Y values. If you want, you can incorporate a color in there as well, because that could be fun too. It might be fun to make a car and then we can animate the car going across the screen, or if you want to make clouds, there's all sorts of things you could do. In fact, I'll show you a few things that I did. How about this one? Oh, that doesn't look like the one I meant. Let's compile it first. All right. So there's a few different items on the screen. There's trees, and I can just specify left and the X and Y values. I've got the ducks, a few different items put together, ducks in different views, and the birds flying in the sky. Okay, so that's one thing. I've got a few, but you don't have to get that fancy. You can just come up with one item that you want to move.